with a name that is familiar to all of our viewers, Alex Szymanski, winner of the Players' Cup, and also just winner of everything. He's quite good. Alex is quite a good player. Playing the Decidueye list up against Kochi Kimura. I couldn't find the name then. Kochi Kimura playing the Eternatus list that we've seen do quite well this weekend, right? It's been a surprise pick today. Yes, yesterday, less good. Definitely the bring today, it looks like. And a really nice opening hand so far. Getting the double Sobble down. Sinlin are available to draw cards next turn.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad little start there. And looking at our Eternatus players list, there's not the most outs. I'm not going to lie to you. They do play one of the Galarian Moltres from Evolving Skies, the one that lets you attach extra energy when it's attached to the bench, I should say. But the attack isn't really the greatest. It does 20 plus 50 for each prize card your opponent has taken. So at one point in the game, it can probably clean up one or maybe two Decidueyes, but it is weak to grass, so it will be getting swiftly ejected via a Leafeon's attack with some quick shooting ping from the Inteleon as well. So something worth noting there. Looking at the start of our Eternatus player here, though, we have a Galarian Moltres, we have the Sneasel, and we have the Umbreon Dart. We see a quick ball here. Probably going to be for a Crobat. And yeah, I feel as if this is definitely Alex's game to lose, in my opinion. What do you think of that, Connor?
Exactly right. It's Decidueye is prepared for these kinds of matchups because it's like, cool, you have like one or two outs and I can beat both. Like, I have 6 prize cards to play with. Like, I'll probably be fine. And I feel that that's very much Alex's kind of thinking here. The Marnie here could actually be kind of good for Alex as well, because that hand wasn't doing much turn 2. But also, do you know what we're missing currently on the Eternatus side of the board, which is quite important?
What's that?
Eternatus.
Oh, there you go. It just comes down, though. One energy attached.
We needed one of them.
Okay, so let's have a look. We see a capture energy and a rare candy, and you would just love to like have a poker communication or something like this. But we do see a level ball. That's probably going to find Drizzle. And then do they play Evolution Incense? They do. So we could be seeing a turn 2 Decidueye here, which is just something like you want to see. Just take the pressure off. Say, right, with these stage 2 decks, sometimes it's just getting to the stage 2 can be the problem. Now, these stage 2s often have powerful abilities. It's just getting them in play. So strong here from Alex, just saying, right, I've got my Decidueye. There's going to be none of this Marnie and Grief Me nonsense. There's a Decidueye in play, and an empty hand research as well. Stuff you love to see.
Yeah,
Big Parasol as well. This is nice to stop stuff like Crobat Poison and an energy spinner for energy attachment as well, which they opt to hold on to, which is fine. But there you go. Decidueye's out. That's a big pressure off Alex's mind, in my opinion.
I mean, like, you almost write, if you write game plans for most of these decks, right? Like step 1, find it like this. Step 2, step this. We've like ticked off, like, we're like step 6 already, basically, for Decidueye. Like, we've got we've rare candy Decidueye, we've got an energy down, we've got some Sobbles in play. Like, we're set up. The Eternatus, though, is still kind of struggling on step 2 of find the VMAX, get the energy attached to the VMAX so I can start attacking. So this is going to be a long uphill battle for the Eternatus now. Does get it, the VMAX now. Are they playing the E-Switch? Or have they got the Weavile? So if
they have a Weavile, yeah. So as long as energy's in play, any attackers can be used. But yeah, Switch would be the only thing now to try and get a KO on this Sobble. What is our Eternatus' switching outs there? I feel a lot of these decks are just playing Air Balloon these days, and not a high switch count. Let's have a look. 2 Switch and 2 Air Balloon. Obviously, there was a Tool Jammer on the active Sobble. So, yeah, there won't be any air balloons there. But you see a Black Lance, though. Just there's no need to jump around the active. Just take the KO with that. And yeah, here comes the Decidueye slinging in the active. Now, it does have the big Parasol attached, so that prevents all effects of attacks done to this Pokemon and all your bench Pokemon. So there shouldn't be any shenanigans happening unless a Tool Scrapper comes down, which our Eternatus player is not playing. So, yeah. This Decidueye, I don't see how it gets ejected from the game anytime soon. So it's going to be around for sure.
Yeah, no, and again, like, this turn is also really strong, right? Just going into the Shady Dealings and going, cool, I can go second Decidueye hits the board. Like, guarantee the Rosa, so you can do cool plays with it too. Like, you get a lot of value real quick with these Shady Dealings, especially when you can go, like, in theory, it's basically you can grab exactly rare candy Decidueye with it on the Inteleon. It's like, oh, okay, cool, so we're fine. We see the Rosa.
Yeah, look at that value. Like you said, just evolve up. Let me just get Rosa, which lets you search for a Pokemon trainer and basic energy, so we can actually get our attack. Search for evolution events, and now you got 2 Decidueyes out. So sometimes these Decidueye decks, you might get one out, your opponent can sort of break through it eventually, and then you can struggle to get the second one out. But this is a super strong scenario here. Damages into those Galarian Moltres, which is nice. And it's just us all going a bit crazy here, Alex. What a fantastic start. If you had to draw up a start for the Decidueye deck, it's not going to be terribly far off this. You know what I mean? So
it's basically the perfect scenario. And it's also, the thing with Decidueye is a wall deck, but it also wants to put pressure on. The longer a deck has to try and find its answers, the worse it is for Decidueye. So you really do want to start putting this, get these attacks down early. Also, because if you're going to win games, you need to take the prize cards. Otherwise, you're just going to end up in a lot of ties. So we see a Crobat bench is basically full and the boss. So, okay, we're going to take a prize this turn. Go down to 4. Does basically mean that nothing else can be benched now for Alex because the Inteleon and the Sobbles are 2 more prize cards. So you got to be careful with benching too many things to let them have routes to the 4 prize cards.
Yes, exactly that.
Remaining.
We've actually seen a little wrinkle here. Because this Eternatus list actually plays 2 Cheryl, these 20 snipes don't want to be going to any evolved Pokemon, right? Because you could just move the energy off, Cheryl heal them off. So actually hitting this Umbreon tag is a perfect target, right? It's a 3 prize target that cannot be Cheryled. It's a basic. And then, just splitting this damage all on these basic bench Pokemon, such as the Galarian, Moltres V, and the Crobat. It's a super ideal scenario here. And I'm looking at this Eternatus list. Outside of that Galarian Moltres, baby Galarian Moltres, I'm not seeing a terrible amount of outs here, especially when a big Parasol is attached. So it's definitely Alex is definitely in the driver's seat here, I feel.
Yeah, this is gonna be a tough game for Eternatus, right? This is almost like a okay, maybe I'll just let's just get over this, just call this one off. We'll go game 2 kind of scenario, because you don't expect the Decidueye to have that opening every game.
Yes.
And double the Decidueye down, the energy's down. It's actually just drawn into a level ball to go Drizzle off this Marnie. As we see, this is the way to do it. Is in theory you can do the poison damage with Crobat, but it doesn't work like that, which I think they've just realized. It's like, oh, cool,
with the big Parasol, in a normal scenario outside of big Parasol, poisoning is a fine tactic, right? Just to tick some damage into play. But big Parasol prevents all effects of attacks to the active as well as the bench. So the Venomous Fang is doing nothing. And we see a little bit of good sequence in there from Alex, level balling out that Mew and then mining it, so there's no way that they can draw into it. And here we go, the splitting arrow. And like we alluded to earlier, a lot of these wall decks, the attacks tend to be a bit lackluster. Like if we think about Altaria from Champion's Path, I believe 2 for 60, that's not applying enough pressure, right? Whereas Decidueye 90, it might not be on face value the greatest number, but when you're never taking damage back, the 90s add up. And these 20 snipes, look at that Umbreon Darkrai, it's on 200 already. That's 3 snipes away from being KO'd. So it's just enough pressure, that splitting arrow, to just add up over time. And we're seeing a lot of bench damage there. So looking good.
So this is an untimed game as well. So I guess the whole thing of scoop and go next, you don't need to because you have the time. As we see the boss's orders, comes down, takes a Sobble. That's an important KO as well, because that Sobble could potentially become a quick shooting Inteleon.
Yes.
Which is scary. That's then starting to put a much shorter clock on. So
like we alluded to earlier, not a lot of other bench stuff can come down now. We see another big Parasol. That is another a great card to see in this scenario, because I don't think they played Tool Scrap this Eternatus list. So both these Decidueyes are saying, right, no funny business, for lack of a better term. You're not hitting me, you're not poisoning me, you're not going to dark move me. I'm going to sit right here in this active and spit an arrow.
Yeah, it's basically okay, you can Moltres me. That was pass. That wasn't attack. That was it's cool, I won. You deck out from here now. You can't win. That's
statements.
All right, yeah, cool. Go ahead, KO this Inteleon. I don't care. So
the Inteleon actually has 160, so they can't actually take the KO with the Umbreon Darkrai. So here we see Eternatus VMAX slam the active for the first time in this game with that Dread End attack. In case I don't know what it does, it's 30 damage for each dark Pokemon you have in play. And obviously, the Eternal Zone lets you have up to 8 dark types on your bench, so it tops out at a crisp 270.
Yeah, so we see the situation come back to the active and probably pass. Oh, we're going to start attacking again. I always find it weird when you take one turn off attacking and then like they go back to it next time. Like, wait. What was wrong with last turn attacking? I don't understand why we didn't do it last turn.
Right now, I'm not the biggest Decidueye player, but I have a feeling the reason Alex didn't attack there was that they didn't want to play into the Galarian Moltres, the one that does more damage depending on how many prize cards your opponent's taken. Right, like if they took the KO there, the Moltres could have come down. So maybe they're playing around that. That's the only thing.
That's actually a really good shout. Like it might be that they're just going to keep splitting arrowing and set it up to basically take a 6 prize card turn, right? Like spread enough of this energy or like damage around that you can just go, yeah, cool, I win. And like if the alternative is I'm just going to promote this to make you KO it, just pass. Like you're ahead in deck, right? Like you're fine. Yeah. So this is just going to be such interactive gameplay, guys. Thanks for those 3 turns of quick commentary for us.
And we see a boss's orders here. I think Moltres is weak to grass, I should say. Yep. So that's actually going to be a KO there, and then 20 damage snipe. So I believe 240 that benched Umbreon Darkrai on, and the Crobat is on 150 damage. So 2 more bench splitting arrows, and that is this game locked up, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, this is basically it for game 1, right? Like there's not really any outs. You have the Moltres, but it's not doing enough to one shot and then gets one shot back.
So we can see now I'm looking at the Galarian Moltres. Like I said, guys, it does 50 plus 20 for each prize card your opponent's taken. So at this point in time, if that came down, it does not take a KO on the Decidueye. So like I said, playing around that attack beautifully. Even though it does get one shot by the returning Decidueye, let's not play any games. Let's just, you know what I mean? Let's just...
I like that. Just grab the boss and go, yeah, cool. You know I win next turn, right?
Yeah.
Like that's it. I'm out. Like you might as well splitting arrow because like it doesn't matter what they do here. You attack with the other Decidueye and win because like Crobat has damage, right?
Exactly.
Like you could just flex here, go, yeah, it's fine, I win.
Yeah, and like I said, putting the damage only on basic Pokemon, so there's going to be no show or healing business. Even if that Moltres does come down, the non-GX one, there it is. You can KO this active Decidueye. The next one just comes up and says, you know what I mean? Bang! On the bench, get rid of that Crobat, and then we're going straight to game 2. Real good masterclass there, playing to all your outs. Playing, just making sure that the tiny amount of outs your opponent can make. Let's just play around them as well. Let's just really checkmate this up.
Well, this is the thing, right? Like people almost complain that it's autopilot. It isn't. Alex made some really clever plays there, like you said, putting the damage exactly on the basics and not doing the put it on the Weavile or whatever kind of lines.
Yes.
That was really clever. And that's like the difference between someone who just plays it as like, oh, I can get 3 wins, and someone who's playing extremely well and could take the whole tournament. We all know Alex is an extremely talented player. Like, it's not a surprise that Alex is doing well with this deck by any stretch. So it's seeing this maximizing the odds every single turn is just, that's what separates the good players from the best of the best.
Yes, that's it. It's just like you said, almost min-maxing to a certain extent, right? Just making sure every little decision, like we saw level balling out the mute and then mining it, so it's going to the bottom, so you can't draw into it. It's all those little things where, you might not see a difference in one game. You might not see a difference in the best of 3, but over a big tournament, all those little marker decisions add up. And that's why Alex is one of the best players we have right now, and that's why, he finds himself cruising here.
I mean, you say that this Mew is just, I wasn't cruising, it was going for a ride around. Trying to decide if it was going to start or not. But we see the mulligan for the alternative, which is not common. They play quite a lot of Pokemon.
Yeah, they play quite a few basic Pokemon. You are 100% correct there. So, as an alternatives player myself, that mulligan is not something you see all the time.
No, double Rowlet in the opener. Delightful.
So the only problem with having that Mew down is, like we said, we alluded to earlier, you don't want to put enough free prizes down. Oh, no Sneasel or no Eternatus from the Eternatus player, by the way. So the worst that can happen will be a Venomous Fang.
I don't know if I come here.
We're going to end the time of the
okay, yeah, we can commonalize, I guess. But like, I was genuinely going, why come here when we could just go Drizzle, Candy, Decidueye, GG. All right, like. Am I rushing here?
I guess maybe they want to make sure that you can like rare candy and have a maximum. Oh, that's a tough money. Try and get that big parasol potentially. Really checkmate it. But you're not under much pressure here though. If your opponent just has a crib out of even energy, Venomous Fang doesn't even care with Snorlax. You might get another turn of you know what I mean, or Gorman dies, and he's actually been mined into a rare candy Decidueye big parasol. So that's pretty, you know what I mean? That's a pretty good money to have right there.
I'm gonna go one better. He can Candy Inteleon into Candy.
Yeah, so I was having a drink of water, but yeah, you could rare Candy Inteleon. Yeah, you could.
And you can go Candy Inteleon to switch.
And a Pokecom off the top as well. So let's see what the line of play that we go down here. We do see rare candy decision. Not rare candy. No, it's not something you see every day, but that was something you could do. You're 100% correct. I imagine this probably finds a Dartrix, which they don't play, so ignore me. Yeah, Drizzle seems pretty safe.
Yeah, I mean,
and then a big fat Gorman dies. They're probably just price checking now.
Yeah. I mean, you can afford a few prizes in this matchup. Like, that we saw that in the last game, right? You can give up a couple of prizes. You don't really care because all you're trying to do is just set up double Decidueye with parasols, and your opponent has nothing.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, it's hard. It's real tough for Eternatus to deal with.
Oh my god! He just hit the candy Evo. Wow. This is gross.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only Debbie Downer thing I can say here, that there's still no energy, but like you said, the Decidueyes aren't going anywhere fast, especially with a big parasol. Like we said, that Moltres that we saw, the non-GX one, non-Woolbox one, I should say, I apologize, can't really do anything until the late game anyway. So these Decidueyes can just chill. You know what I mean? There's no real reason to turbo out and start splitting arrow. Let's just take our time, try and get to the double Decidueye, double big parasol, and say, right, let's start dancing from there, shall we?
Yeah, so see the Pokemon communication. And you're the Eternatus player here. You see this board? What do you do?
No, it's an intimidating one. Like I said, as an Eternatus player myself, the non-GX Yveltal can be quite interesting against Decidueye, discarding special energies and all that, but you only ever play one of them for the most part, right? You could rely on Venomous and Crobat, but you have big Parasol for that as well. So, you know what I mean? It's tough. But actually, the quick shooting Inteleon come down here. That's pretty cool. Being able to just apply a little bit more offensive pressure in combination with the splitting arrow means you could potentially target a bench Pokemon for 40 damage. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. We do see energy now.
Damage racks up.
Yeah, and like we said, we're probably going to see damage just pile into bench bases, or potentially trying to target down the Sneasel, because we do see the boss's orders there. So, ooh, baby.
Yeah, interesting to see that they didn't play the Sobble, because top decking the Drizzles and out to more resources. So it's going to be awkward for them to set up the KO on the Sneasel, right? Because they need to top deck exactly energy, basically. They haven't gotten out to search any, so... But definitely something that they could start looking at. Quick ball going in. Again, this just feels like a really tough spot to be in, right? Like that Parasol. Dark Moon GX, by the way, or GGGX as we named it earlier. That's not a thing. That's just not going to do anything now.
Yep. Exactly that. Normally, if you get to Dark Moon, you can just say, right, I can just put my feet up. You guys can't see me, but my feet are up right now, and say, right, that's just getting wrapped up. But this is one of the rare circumstances where you could legitly Dark Moon for nothing.
Yeah.
For no reason at all. Well, we see the Theo in a pretty cool card, in case you guys don't know. Is it getting sent away? Yeah, it
is. We saw the Theo. Oh, no, we don't. Okay.
And there it goes.
There we go. The Marnie.
And there we go. See it, getting the Snorlax back, putting it straight to the bottom, making sure we're not drawing that nonsense. It's those little things. I promise you guys. I promise.
Yeah. And this is the stuff that when you watch someone play, it can be really hard to spot that they're doing it until you're very actively watching. With casting, we have to actively watch the game and really pay hone in on the attention stuff. That's so easy to miss. Of the cute little put the thing to the bottom. He did then shuffle the deck, so I'd argue that it didn't really do much. But yeah, it just makes a huge difference to drawing the cards you want, because you're not going to hit the things you don't want now. You see the Palpad. There's a
Power
Cheryl
pad being used, but
yeah.
not actually really getting boss's orders. Now, like I said, I'm sure Alex would never really play into the spot where you could potentially lose to boss's orders, but a power pad ideally wants to find boss's orders. And that Sneasel off the back of that Marnie is staying a Sneasel. There's gonna be no reroll today, or at least right now, as that's getting sent to the discard pile. Look, the early potency from Decidueye there. Love to see that.
And the Fion's so good here because he doesn't want to hit into this Crobat.
Yep. In case you guys don't know what Fion does, if it's on the bench, you can sort of escape rope your opponent's Pokemon, and then it goes to the bottom of the deck so it can be recycled. And here we see, whoo, that's like I said, that splitting arrow, it adds up. That bench Crobat's got 110. There's also a quick shooting tail. Oh, we just see a pass. I'm not sure what Alternatives player has in their hand, but it can't be the greatest.
Bricks.
The quick shooting's adding up.
I can only assume they must have bricks in their hand. And here you don't mind being a bit more aggressive with the KO because
because
set yourself back up. That Crobat can be pinged and then hit with the splitting arrow and pinged for the prize too. So you're really putting it on a short clock now.
Yeah, and I feel as if Alex can be a little bit more aggressive with his prize taking because we do have the Rosa there. So let's say Moltres comes down at some point, KO's Decidueye, you can just Rosa for your big Parasol energy and say, right, well, you're not getting through this one. So
well, Eternatus Go is not the turn I was expecting. But that's the turn we got. So
that is correct. We even see this Drizzle coming down here. Let's see what this search is for. This could search for a big Parasol, maybe.
No, I like the idea of just going Spinner here because we can just guarantee. Okay, no, we can't.
Oh,
there's no energy. Okay, that is actually interesting because that means that if you can KO this active Decidueye, there's no attacks left.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, they have got one grass attached already.
So they had the ordinary
try
rod.
and draw into ordinary rod or just find the capture, which they do have in deck as well. So it's not a complete death wish, but it's not something it's not the sort of thing you'd be like, oh okay, I've got no best Genji left in deck because it's quite hard to search for the special ranger. Right, there is no Guz Haller in this list, so. But it seems like we might be getting a bit ahead of ourselves here. Doesn't seem like
it's double quick shooting is going to happen as well now. So that basically, so the double quick shooting puts it so this Eternatus gets double quick shooting down next turn.
Oof.
So we did see a small mis-sequencing, I guess, with the ordinary rod not being played before the energy spinner last turn. They could have guaranteed the attachment. But
yeah, no, that's fair. But I guess maybe Alec didn't realize.
Exactly. It's difficult, right? Like when you're in these like high stress things, you do prize check, but that doesn't necessarily mean you check every single prize.
Yeah,
like you might not check exact energy counts and stuff, and you might lose track at the for this. So
that looks like that.
Yeah, and that will be a pretty quick 2-0 for Decidueye here.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, Decidueye is not a fast deck, but that is a fast 2-0 for Decidueye.
Someone tell Alex that.